This astronaut returned from space with his DNA totally different. His DNA had changed. A year in space can be enough time to suffer permanent changes in your DNA. And this has been proven by NASA, which, as part of an experiment called Twin Study, has had Scott Kelly almost a year in the International Space Station, and on his return they have contrasted his DNA with his brother's, and that the DNA is no longer exactly the same as it was when he left. Now, after spending a total of 340 days in space, astronaut Scott Kelly returned to Earth and melted into a huge hug with his twin brother Mark. Scott ended up with his Embrace a Space mission, integrated into the study known as a Twin Study, which aimed to discover what happens to the human body after a year floating in microgravity. Since both brothers were identical, they were the two best subjects for NASA to compare the evolutions suffered by the one against the other, and all this to determine if the effects suffered by the spatial stay could mean a risk to health. To verify that the modification is effective and at what level it has occurred, Scott's brother, also an astronaut, had remained on Earth as a control group. The surprise is not that there are any changes in DNA, something usual and expected, but that they seem to be permanent and irreversible. So the DNA permanently changes if you go out into space. According to the first DNA analysis, Scott increased the length of its telomeres, the ends of the chromosomes, and decreased the levels of DNA methylation. On the other hand, the first study also found that Scott grew up to 5 centimeters during his space adventure, all due to microgravity, which stretches the spine. And now new analysis reveal that Scott's genes have undergone variations from his brother's. As explained by NASA, about 7% of Scott's genes have undergone a permanent modification during the 340 days that Kelly had spent on the International Space Station, the ISS. Specifically, the astronaut has seen modified genes associated with bone formation, the absence of oxygen, and the immune system. Genes that, after a year in space, are completely different from those of the other twin brother, born with identical DNA. Throughout the year, NASA offered the final results of the research, and it looks askance at the new space stage, which aims at colonizing Mars. And is it good for humans to spend time in space? This is from Infinity Explorers. Anj Srivastava reports. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box.